Hello.
I have to unmute myself first. Hello.
Okay, so welcome to part two of this week Inside Sim Racing, December 14th, 2016 edition. Hopefully, this edition works better, and hopefully, some of that first part
Cross
was
our fingers.
yes, and hopefully, some of that first part was salvageable. So, yeah, we're gonna blame that on Windows Update, since I noticed right before we went live there was a Windows Update when I opened up the start menu, and I hadn't got any previous warning. And then clearly, right from the beginning of that first attempt, saw frames were dropping, and then it got really bad at the end. For a while there, we like dropped 200, and it was fine, and we kind of slowly worked our way to 1,000, and then that 1,000 to like 3,200 happened really quick. So,
Oops.
yeah, live streaming, it's work. People ask why we don't do more of it, and people say, "Oh, it's not that hard." Yeah, it can be hard when technology just doesn't want to work.
Doesn't want to cooperate.
Yes. So,
And I can't see. Do we have anybody in the stream?
we got 43 people here.
Oh, right.
That's better than the 5 I thought we were going to have.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man. Darren's telling me to fix my shit.
Well,
Man, we've been doing really well here recently on streams. There have been 0 drop frames here recently. But, again, it's like, I think my internet connection has actually been pretty good. You know, I lambasted Time Warner for a long time, got a VPN. Actually, have not been on the VPN in a while.
oh,
And
okay.
So, yeah, I think this was I think this was a whatchamacallit, a Windows 10 deal.
I would agree.
Yes,
Or at least that's what we'll tell everybody. So,
that's right. I make ourselves feel better. Okay,
all right. So, do we want to back up a little bit? Let's back up to the. Let's start with the Red Bull 10 best racing games of the year, while people still filter in or whatever they're gonna do.
So let me go to that page just so we can, again, look at the top 10 here. And the interesting thing about this list, they put out. I know you were asking about this, Billy. I don't know if you could vote for more than one thing, but I know they listed the games. So
Okay.
there was things like Automobilista in here that weren't listed. They kind of just hit your major titles from major developers like Codemasters and Milestone and stuff like that. The Forza franchise. So there was
Kind
so
of
much.
where, yeah, that's kind of where I thought they were going with it when I looked at the list. Because, like I said, it seemed to be console. I mean, Apex isn't console, but I think it's big enough that it kind of warrants being, in their eyes, being in there. You know, where do you draw the line on this stuff? What about expansions? What about, major updates? It's not like it used to be when you had a good old NES cart and you put that thing in the 8-bit machine and you played your Nintendo. Updates make it difficult.
Tangent. Speaking of 8-bit, I almost posted it here, but I was afraid to get the wrath of the FIA.
That was funny.
Billy knows where I'm going with this. There was the FIA Formula One officially. They put out this 8-bit version, an 8-bit video game of the 2016 season. It is hilarious.
I like when what's his name became a torpedo.
Oh yeah. What's the face? The Russian, Kafiyat.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was. If you haven't seen that, go look it up. Go look on the Formula One official things. Plenty of people have shared it, but yeah, that was like on the nose, really funny.
It was really good.
It was, but anyway, back to what you were saying, Billy. But no, wait. Let me add to what you were gonna say. Yeah, it is very difficult to say like, the best example of this, when you talk about games of the year released in the calendar year, is iRacing. It's been around since 2008. That's it's a modern game. You could it could be the 2016 version of iRacing and the 2017 version. You could always make that argument for it.
essentially it's almost like an MMO, which they don't
Yes.
want to say, but so that makes it difficult whenever something different comes out that they're making a huge update or whatever. And that's I think where it's. I noticed this. You didn't happen to watch the video game awards at all, did you?
No, I just
Okay.
I
I
didn't
wouldn't
watch it.
expect most people here to, but like I said, I'm into all kinds of stuff, so I had it on in the background, and Forza Horizon 3 won Best Racing / Sports Game of the Year. But that list is super narrow. I mean, they left out Dirt Rally and Assetto Corsa, ones that you would think might be on there, but NBA 2K is and FIFA are like powerhouses in that. If you're going to combine all those. So it kind of makes me think of a little deeper in the fact that the major outlets don't cover a lot of those sim-related titles. So an IGN or a GameSpot isn't going to really cover iRacing. In fact, I don't think I've hardly ever seen iRacing on something like that, or Race Room, or like we were talking about Automobilista or GameStop Car before that.
Yeah.
Even Assetto Corsa
Sims.
when it was on the PC.
Yeah, Sims in general, you don't see racing sims. You don't see them cover airplane sims. They tend to stay out of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand. It's a narrower amount of users, and those are also these guys. It'd be so awful trying to work for like an IGN, because I mean you get like what, a day to go review a game. It's like, here's your game, like go. I've heard this before. I used to watch X Play on G4 here, and they talked about it even for that show. It's like you go home and play these games, and you gotta come in and write something, and then you gotta film it, and it's just like it's a nightmare to actually like play through, spend any real time with it. And when it comes to a simulator, there's just so much to it. It's time consuming.
Right. And it used to not be like that. It used to be where the games would come out, they would have copies, weeks in advance, so that they could get out a nice, substantial, play the game all the way through kind of review. And so I don't think that it was as difficult, because there was... when Gran Turismo and Turismo, sorry, it's a bad habit, came out, and then you started getting all these console-like simulators, if you want to call them that, and then I never really, I mean, PC Gamer kind of covered some of the sim titles, but the further we get into that simulation part, the less of a beginning and an end there is. And just like this, well, you could play this day, and you could play this, how do you... On one hand, yes, you go play one car on one track, and then you start testing the cars and the tracks and going through UI and all this kind of stuff. But that takes a really, really long time to do it right. Kind of what I was alluding to with Ride 2 earlier is there's so much stuff to do in that. I didn't want to give an uninformed opinion about the other two genres of bike that are in the game. So.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, all these lists are they're kind of just fun for debate. I feel like they're all kind of imperfect. Like this, maybe this Red Bull one is. You only had so many options there, and like you were saying before on the last stream, if anyone actually heard it, it'd be interesting to know how many people, how many people from each fan base came out to vote, and then like for something like Assetto Corsa, how many of those are people who play on the PC and don't play it on the console. And I mean, even the same thing can be said for Dirt.
Yep.
And F1 to some degree. You play F1 on the PC versus PlayStation 4 versus Xbox. There are some differences in that experience. So
I would just say the experience isn't as split with Dirt Rally or with F1 2016, where Assetto Corsa is getting better about being closer to what's currently available on the PC, but there's still quite a large divide, and when it came out, it was very noticeable. So
yes, both on content and feature side.
Like I said, I think we just need to piss a bunch of people off and have our own award, quote unquote, show. Because then it'll get everybody. I can't believe you put I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just tell that John guy to work on that. Um, okay, so that wraps up the news there, and get into some happenings, and shared some images over on Facebook of my trip to the PRI show last. Where is it at? Here it is. The PRI show last Thursday in Indianapolis. Really cool to go. And but yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through some of the pictures again and give a little bit of comments since I didn't really give any commentary. There was a plethora of different simulators there, including this one, which I don't know what this one is off the top of my head, but it is kind of hilarious seeing a G27 mounted to it.
It's still a wheel of choice. Gosh, who was that? Just some big sim racer just said he still uses a G27. I forget who it was, but
Yeah,
just it's still a wheel of choice for a lot of people.
they're out there. This is let's see. This is from Sim Gear Simulations. They have I got to drive this. Those are actually Sim Experience Sim Experience actuators on there. If those look familiar. And this is like an all-in-one type turnkey system. They have the PC and everything's in the base. Unfortunately, they had it running with Project Cars, which just didn't feel puts out kind of talking about how it puts out bad data versus like iRacing. So like the motion wasn't fully spectacular, and I didn't get a chance to go try it out afterwards. They're gonna fire up iRacing for me at the end of the show. I'm like I gotta go home. Another simulator deal. Here's the Sim Experience guys. They were at Bell Helmets. They were the only ones actually running Oculus there. This was over at Max Pappas Innovations MPI Wheels. Had a nice conversation with them. Hopefully get some of those wheels on the show. They had a little iRacing simulator going. I like the seat they had. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, those are very similar to the containment seats that I ran.
Yeah, so here's this was kind of the highlight of the rigs of the show. This is the SimCraft rig, and actually and that's also there are pedals that come from DIYsim.com. And when I got over there, this guy Justin Allgaier was actually behind the wheel racing it. He is a NASCAR driver, for those of you who do not know. But unfortunately, I did not get a chance to jump in it because it was like the end of the day, and he was on there for a bit, and then I feel like they had some people who look like clients from Mexico who maybe were serious about buying multiple. They had jumped on in, so I did not get a chance to drive it. This is still it's still a simulator that first off, those pedals look pretty sweet. This is a simulator that still kind of gives me a little bit like. I watch it. I'm kind of like I just don't know if the rotation's quite right. It's got this odd kind of pendulum type thing. I was watching Justin. He was struggling a little bit on the. He actually spun out at Daytona because the thing was like wobbling back and forth on him. Because, and that's the thing. A lot of these motion rigs on ovals, they react to your input to give you G forces like on a road course. But on an oval, you really want like banking, not like the forces. So. I think I need to get some a little more tuning done on that. This was probably the best simulator I drove of the day. This was a let's see, this was from Crimson Simulation out of I think Connecticut. They're out of the Northeast up there, and this is actually Crimson Simulation is a place you go and you can drive a bunch of simulators. You can rent time on it. This is actually a Fast Track Sims TC-R1 with 1.5-inch D boxes at all four corners, and this was set up really well. And that's a Bodner V2 wheel. The wheel felt really good. It felt like a direct drive wheel. I got done driving. I'm like, yeah, it feels like the AccuForce. It feels like a direct drive wheel. But the owner of Crimson, I'm gonna mess up his name. Nade Nadenoff. Had a nice conversation with him, and he definitely sim racer. He had everything set up real well, so the motion felt pretty good. I'm still I'll hop out here. I'm still a little I still don't fully know how to feel about the D-Box design, because D-Box, it feels cool that your whole body, moves, the whole rig,
Uh-huh.
but because it's carrying so much more weight, it's not as fast of an input as like a seat mover. Where the negative of a seat mover is that you get really fast input, but it's just you moving, not the whole rig. So there's still something that's not fully there. And then that the thing about, and then also with D box, um, I like traction loss. So that was something that
Yeah,
makes
well,
a
the
big
problem
difference.
is that's two separate things, right? If you have the whole rig moving, that's not simulating G-force. That's simulating like banking, like a corner being off camber or something like
Yeah,
that, where the whole car would move. G-force is the forces that are applied to your body.
yeah.
So that would be interesting.
Yeah, well, and that's what I tell people. And people go and they say, um, people. I've seen people make comments about seat movers. I just got a seat mover here that I'm going to talk about in a second. Different types of seat mover than like that Sim Experience one. But people go like, yeah, it's just moving your seat, but it's putting in those forces like you're saying into your body, and it's not about
Yeah,
travel.
sort of.
It's not about travel, but it's about how quickly they input it. But yeah,
Right.
so that's kind of my thing. Like the D boxes, it feels cool that the whole thing's moving. It just doesn't move as quick. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm not sure. I'm still kind of like there's pros and cons to all that stuff. But at least that one, like I said, it was dialed in nicely. Which man, I tell you, those D box. Do you know how much those things run for?
No.
That
Should
one,
I?
I looked it up like a F4 post with that rig. It's like $15,000. So it's it's
Whew.
it's they are pricey. They are not cheap. But what else was gonna say there? Oh,
Well, I would real quick. Sorry, before we move on, I'd like to try each one individually. I like to try a seat, one that moves the seat, one that moves the chassis, even the traction loss, and then like put all of them together
hmm
because to me, coming from racing, especially sprint cars, or the amount of suspension travel and forces that get put on your body in a sprint car, I would be really interested to see how that translates into something like that.
Yeah, and Brandon, who I got to see again at the show. It was good seeing Brandon again, and also seeing Chris. They got a chance to go and try that, and he says that he was feeling the traction loss in the Simcraft. They liked it. They said it felt
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's
So
cool.
that was cool. But anyway, when I was standing over there at Simcraft, my story I was going to mention earlier, I didn't get a chance to get on there, but Jordan Taylor was there from
Okay.
so he's a sports car racer,
Yes.
very talented, does a lot of funny stuff on YouTube, including having mullets. And I kind of like shimmy back over and chatted with him a little bit. And I didn't fangirl out and ask him questions about since he has one of those, which is why he was there. And I didn't ask him questions about comparing both of them. I mostly just stuck to, are you pretty excited to drive that new Cadillac? And yes, and how it's like I wish your teammate Jeff Gordon was here. He was here this morning and I missed him. And he's like, oh yeah, I was just with him over at the Delara
Oh, jeez.
simulator over at the Speedway. And
Oh, that's
so yeah, no, I missed out on seeing Gordon in the morning because I didn't get there till the afternoon. But no, that was cool chatting with him for a second. But I did not pick his brain, and he would have been a good one. Fired.
fired. Yeah, I liked his little post yesterday with the Jeff Gordon interview.
Oh, that was so funny. For those of you who haven't,
That was
Jordan posted a video on Twitter. I must have his publicist shoot it, where it was a big crowd of people interviewing Jeff Gordon, and then Jordan was off like in the background all by himself, just like, and the camera panned, and he's over there just like,
Yeah, he's got his head tilted. And he's like,
this is what it's like to be Jeff Gordon's teammate.
"Yep." It was pretty funny.
Yes. So,
All right.
Yep, that was. And one more thing on PRI before we go, because I just gotta show. I gotta show these if you haven't seen them. The cars at the show were amazing. Like they had some fantastic. There's iRacing sponsored one, but there's just like fantastic stuff here. So if you get a chance to go ever to this show, Automobilista truck, super, what's it called? I can't remember.
I can't think of it.
I can't remember the official term. There's the LMP2 car that won Petit Le Mans back in October. Look at that cockpit. So you have your feet up so high. I mean, it really is like a Formula car. Oh, speaking of Formula car, there's
There you
Haas liveried. I think that's a Caterham. One of the old cars. New Audi RS3 race series. So there's the back of the Porsche 919. So yeah, just some really cool stuff there. And I did a bad job, Billy. I didn't take any pictures of any of the wing sprint cars.
Of course you didn't.
I know. I mean,
That's okay. I got it in my feed. I had a bunch of friends sending me going, I'm on PRI. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Thanks.
It's kind of amazing how I mean, it's at the Indianapolis Convention Center. I figured it was going to be a good sized show, but you get in there, you're kind of like, this is impressive.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yes, a lot of stuff. Like I said, a lot of cars. Nice.
Somebody said they liked my mug, but they were only seeing the butt side of it. So.
Yeah. I assumed. Yes, that was Ty Majeski's super late model. You are correct. So yeah. So that's enough of that. What are we talking about next?
Well, you got something.
I do.
Something you could lift weights with.
I don't know if I can. Okay, so I got the Next Level V3 motion platform, and I posted a picture up on social media yesterday. It came in like a really small box. I mean, that's kind of one of the big selling points of it. It's like you don't have a lot of space. I want to pick it up and show it, but it weighs a metric shit ton. Like it just weighs so much. But we'll see.
Don't hurt yourself.
Oh, my back.
Oh, come back. Whoa.
So there it is. That's part of it. Ugh. It weighs so much. But this thing it's pretty. Ta-da.
Wow.
Let me get it this way. So yeah, no, this is a really nice piece of, just kind of engineering and
Cool.
fabrication. Ugh. So at least from that standpoint, it's pretty cool in my book. So we'll see how it goes. I had a lot of people ask how this differs from the V2, and I need to spend a little more time. I kind of only briefly read through the differences on some release they had the other day. I gotta look at it more, but I know it's supposed to be quieter. I don't really know if it's supposed to be any quicker. The V2 was out for a very, very short amount of time, which I kind of got to ask him what the deal was with that. Because I did a first look at the V2 at E3, and then, here we are 6 months later, and it's the V3. So, yeah.
They just jumped the shark on that one.
Yeah, apparently. But this one's black, where that one was red. That's the difference? Okay.
Nice.
I didn't break it. Dead air. Oh, I will say, the new uprights for it, these things are sweet looking. This is a sticker on the regular one, but this is all cut out and everything.
Huh.
So
it looks nice.
Yeah, from aesthetic standpoint.
It looks like an OG Xbox One. I like it. I still have mine.
Yeah. 6E660. If you think that weighs much, try lifting the Sim Experience Stage 4. Oh, I have. At iRace for Life, me, Darren, a couple other guys lifted up Scion's Stage 4 with a whole bunch of other crap on it up into the moving truck to take over to the event. And oh man, we're lucky no one threw out a back.
Wow.
Amazingly. And that was on a platform too or something. That's right, it was on a platform on casters so we could roll it out of the garage. But then you had to carry it all. And on this platform are triple monitors and everything.
Wow.
Computer was off. But the triple monitors was on there because it was all one deal.
That's scary.
Yeah. Oh, it was not fun. Never again.
I would be so afraid of breaking something.
Oh, I mean, it was don't break the rig. Let's again not break our backs. Next time need to hire moving people.
Hey, if one's going down, you got to make a decision between one of them.
Oh, I know. I know. No, that was not fun. So, yeah. And then let's see. The other happening is you got a test drive out tomorrow.
Yes, I'd used the 962, one of my favorite cars in the pretty much overall out of the two packs so far, and had a pretty good race with the AI at Zandvoort. So posted.
I assumed I didn't get a chance to watch it, but considering how long it took for me to download and upload it yesterday, I assume that's got some length to it.
18 laps, and there's really the reason I didn't edit any out because I'm pretty much on the hunt. You know, I start in the middle, slightly towards the front, and it's some back and forth, and I was kind of on the hunt the whole time, making small mistakes here and there. Yeah, my brain sometimes, I swear, if you want to try and get a good race with the AI, you kind of need to leave the fuel in the car that you've got to run the race with instead of taking fuel out of the car. So like normally if you would qualify, you would take a bunch of fuel out so that you could run your fastest lap. But it seems like they're not really adjusting for that. So I leave the fuel in that I'm going to race with, but then you do have to run the compound tires that they're running, again, to have, it seems like to have a comparable race with them. So I was on softs. And softs in that car don't last too long before they've got like a shelf, and then they really start heading off. So then you jump to the mediums for the race, and it took me like a lap and a half to get used to the mediums again. Even though I didn't spend that much time on the softs, you just get that immediate confidence that comes with those soft tires. So it took me a little bit, but I thought the race was good enough that it was worth showing the whole thing. So I'm sure people only watch a few laps, but that's okay.
Cool. And it's also good for our YouTube numbers.
Right? What'd you tell me? I need to do 20 laps on the Nords every day.
For those of you who don't know, or if you even care, there's been a whole thing about YouTube recently. It's changed like their algorithms and stuff and really kind of messing up people. And they like everyday content and they like super long content. It's about watch minutes, not about like number of views. So I told Billy I want 5 Nordschleife test drives a week, 20 laps each. Go.
And I said my heart exploded, so.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so going to do essentially a rig of the month type thing. I'm calling it just from the ISR forums because I kind of want to open it more from just rigs. But this kind of works really well in the motion conversation we were just having. And if it loads, maybe there we go. Okay,
there we go.
We're still cooking with oil. So this is Jonston's rig. This isn't the one I'm showing off. I just want to show the progression of this. He did a post on our forums. The link was in the description of the old show. It will eventually.
That's cool. He hooked those ultras to the wall.
No, that's a stand. That's the
it's a stand?
Yeah, that's the RC.
Doesn't look like it.
That's the RC triple stand that can handle those. Those are the same monitors I have. Those are the BenQ.
Right. Oh, because there's literally a mount that it looks like it's mounted
Yeah.
to the 2 and the 1. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Wow.
the backside have these. I don't really understand. Yeah, it has like this crazy, almost like heatsink looking thing. But anyway, so but yeah, the forum. I'll get it into this version of the show after we get done here. But this, I just want to show what he started with. So he had that rig. He had a whole sim room going on. He had that rig. He had that one, and he had 4 rigs going.
Holy cow.
And he posted this in June. So then recently in October, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna do something kind of different. So he went out and he got the ProSimu motion platform, and this is where's my notes here? This is the T1005. So this is the one with essentially a 4-post D-box, then a 5th actuator for traction loss. So this is kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
So
Wow.
he went out and he got a nice seat, very very pretty carbon fiber one, and he upgraded.
There you go.
Running Fanatic, he went to the Mod 30, which he said he liked more over the standard Fanatic one. So we got that, and then the ProSimu. Here's some. This one he was using what a suggestion that Mark did in his review of the ProSimu to put down Velcro. So he's got that down. And then here are the actuators themselves, all lined up. And this is the traction loss one right here. And then here it is all built, looking very nice and purdy. And then he got more inspiration from what Mark did. Mark built a platform for his to hide the cables, and this is what we're looking at right here. This is to hide all the cables underneath it, and it integrates kind of nicely with the monitor stand he has there. So that's pretty slick.
Wow.
And then here, he had to go, and if you kind of notice, if you look at the actuator there in the bottom corner, the monitor stand is getting in the way of it. So that piece of tape is showing where he went, and he got the monitor stand legs bent to. And then he also had the guys at the metal shop go and add an extra stiffener there so it would hold it. So yeah, that's pretty slick right there. And here it is at the end with the proper bat angle for the monitors. Good job,
Holy
sir.
cow.
This is the way it should be. So
That is amazing.
it looks awesome, and he even got a picture here. Here's the PC there, which that's a pretty fancy case. But yes,
Cool.
that is the setup. There is, if I didn't mess around with it because I figured it would break live stream. But we have a video that we shared from ProSimu on our Facebook that shows this in action, and it looks pretty cool. But no, that's a pretty sick setup and one worth sharing from the Inside Sim Racing forums. A great place to see cool stuff like this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I see some people kind of posting, what about VR? So
He had a
to
VR
that-
headset in there. He had an Oculus in there, so he has one.
I would say to that, I think it's what level you feel like you want to participate at, because like I would like to get a VR headset, but I'm waiting for the version 2 stuff. And if you've listened to or read some of the sim racers, like the high-end sim racers, they're in the same boat. It's neat, but they still prefer their triples for when they're being competitive. So I think there's no right way to do it. I just think it depends on your situation and what kind of, are you more concerned about. It's kind of how I feel about using the ultra wide.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you watch DigiProst when he does those cool camera on the forehead,
GoPro
or wherever he's got it, you see his triples and you see where he's looking. Mm-hmm. Especially, it's really great when he does a Formula car because he's looking at that tire that's leading into the corner. I get that perspective on my ultra wide. So for me, when I was racing, my head never turned to the left and the right. It just didn't happen. But I understand if you are competitively sim racing, having that extra spatial awareness of those two monitors on the side is an advantage, because you can look over and actually physically see where that person is or whatever you're trying to look at. So I think it's just that the matter of what you consider immersive versus being competitive.
Yeah, yeah. And people are asking, I'll go back live to this for a second. People are asking, how do you get in? I like the comment slowly. Um, someone also said, oh, maybe you can swing out that left monitor. I don't think that stands you can do that. I don't think that's possible. So I'm thinking here, it might be just squeezing in, and maybe you can step on that platform there where that left rear actuator is at,
Kind of step up and over,
and kind of squeeze in. I mean, I've always squeezed into my rig, so yeah. I mean, it is somewhat size limited in that case. The best scenario is certainly having one with a swinging arm. That's something that's always interested me since getting those monitors, because especially with I go the wrong direction. Especially with the GT Ultimate having a very similar like seat, it is harder to get in. And I've opened up my monitors, and now I'm kind of like, I'm getting to a point where I kind of want them back tight, like I had them when I was in Washington. So it's just that it just gets annoying when they're in tight. If you're getting in and out of the rig. I mean, that just, after a while, you just kind of the whole back twist. You just kind of get tired doing it. So
yeah. Speaking of which, I want to now get a solo stand for my monitor instead of having it hooked to the rig. I think I'm at that point where I just want it independent of it, so I got to find something to put up. In case I ever do decide to go to triples, or I don't know, maybe I'll keep it this way until Oculus or Vive comes out with their V2s.
Yeah, so I'm kind of surprised something that hasn't been done more, and I might do it here. We'll see. I'm surprised there hasn't been more, people don't do more wall mounting. I mean, there's no reason why you can't go and wall mount a monitor. And I just picked up a wall mount for my TV I got in the living room, and it's one of those deals where it stretches out like 15.6 inches or something. But I mean, you can go and mount it on the wall, and depending on how your rig is, and you could pull it, as long as it has that extension ability, have it come telescope out from the wall, and have it pretty close, because you want it as close to you as possible.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of surprised I haven't seen more of that.
Yeah, I don't really have a spot to do that in mine, so mine's mine can't be on the wall.
Yeah, it is situational, but okay. But yes, that is Jonston's ProSimu custom deal rig. Again, as always, thank you for sharing the forums, and we'll try to work on showing more cool forum stuff. I kind of got lazy on that. Okay, last topic before we get to Q&A, and probably a shorter Q&A since the show's gone a while with our part 1 Windows 10 update disaster. But hey, I'm glad 113 of you guys found your way back here. So
yeah, thank you.
It's not too shabby. Normally we do a poll question here on YouTube, but I wanted to try something a little different, and I want to do a mail-in question and send. I guess you can answer this via like Twitter if you wanted to, but only so many characters there. So you can use our email, info@insidesimracing.tv. Again, I'll have it in the description later on. It's in the description of the first part 1. And the question is, tell us about your worst sim racing habit. And I thought of this because I have a couple of really bad habits. Number 1, sometimes I can start commentating on races where I lose focus, and then I'm like literally like acting like I'm a commentator on TV talking about the race in my head. And it's bad. I do best when I don't think. When I just don't think and I just do. But sometimes I can get a little busy up there. Pretty ADD. And then my second bad habit is I have a tendency. I like to, when I'm standing, like maybe washing dishes and stuff, I like to stand on the side of my feet for some reason. Like roll my feet out. I'll stand on the sides. And And I have a tendency sometimes when I'm racing to roll my foot and then like braking and try to brake a little more aside of my foot, and I'll catch myself doing it, and I gotta, no, keep your foot flat because I brake better when it's like that. So, yeah, those are some examples of bad sim racing habits, and I'm interested to read what bad habits you guys might have.
Yeah, I don't.
You're just amazing.
No. I mean, I've got plenty of bad habits. It's trying to figure out the right one that's most. I guess, like if the force feedback is turned up too high, I have a bad habit of not following through with my turn. I kind of get to the point where it starts getting heavy. I stop turning.
Gotcha.
And so I get there. I was like, and then that's it. Then you still got more wheel you could actually put into it.
I can relate. I have sometimes I feel like where like, yeah, I'm holding the wheel and I go, okay, I can release now. And then it's like, oh no. And it's like, why don't I just hold the wheel there? Just finish off the radius. So I could have smoother hands.
And my other bad habit would be I've gotten a lot better at it now because I'm used to jumping in and out of different sims, and having the ultra wide helps is not looking at the apex. I don't know if this makes sense, but because it's a screen, I get fixated on the fact that I'm looking at a screen and not looking into the corner like I should be.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself, like, your eyeballs don't have to stay centered. You can actually look into the corner, which is, that's not something I do when I normally race, but I get fixated on that I'm looking at a screen and not being immersed into looking at the turn-in spot. So I'm better about it now, but I still do it every once in a while.
Sure. So yeah, those are some examples, and let us know yours. info@insidesimracing.tv, and I like K-Slay1. I swear, a lot. I mean, we've all been there.
If I ever live stream, I'm gonna have to tone myself down sometimes because I do it while I'm doing the commentating on the videos, but that's a little different scenario.
Yeah.
I think live streaming I would lose myself, and yeah, sometimes that won't. I'd make sailors blush.
Yeah, people don't care for that for some reason. So yeah. Okay, so with that, we can go ahead and take some Q&A, do some Q&A. Probably keep this fairly short, probably like 15 minutes or so. But if you have some questions, this is a good chance to get them in with only 105 viewers right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and before we get inundated too much and I forget, we're not leaving yet, but have everybody have a great holiday. Merry Christmas if that's what you're doing. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for gosh, I've been on since February.
Yeah. No, I if do it right, we'll do a little end of the year video and maybe work on getting you and Darren involved. We'll see, but I was looking at some stats. It's like this year we've put out over 220 videos. So that's not too shabby.
Wow.
And obviously you being here, Billy, and putting out those test drives and stuff like that, that's definitely helped that out tremendously. So, no, it's been fairly productive.
I have enjoyed myself quite a bit, so I appreciate being brought on, and it's been a learning experience. People have definitely helped me out. I think in all aspects, I think my driving and my commentating while driving, although I still mess it up every once in a while, has gotten loads better, and it's just because of repetition and practice and doing it. So, but I have fun. I enjoy the community, and that's what I want other people to enjoy. Is I want people to have fun doing this. I'm getting questions, by the way. I want people to have fun and enjoy this hobby. And when people get a little elitist, that's I don't know. I don't back down from those things too easy because I don't think it's fair that you have to enjoy sim racing or you have to enjoy video games in general a certain way. I think that's the whole point of it. That's supposed to be fun, and I hope, if anything, that's what I relay while I'm doing this stuff.
Yep. Well, yeah. As I mentioned before, there's times where I take breaks from the YouTube comments section because sometimes you just got to take a break from it. Okay, let's see. Let me start reading off these questions. Tom Jones, Billy, or John, will Billy become more involved with ISR TV, specifically reviewing hardware or at least giving his opinion? Billy, you want to review hardware? You want to spend at least 10 hours minimum editing a video?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, if I have some time in, like I've put a lot of time in on the Ricmotech pedals, which I should be getting my break back at any time. But I mean, you guys pretty much cover the gamut anyways. I mean, I can add some color and flavor to it, but you guys hear my opinions already. I don't think you need more of them.
Yeah, I think for the most part on the hardware stuff we'll keep. The hardware stuff is it's pretty labor intensive on multiple levels. Reviewing it and editing and stuff like that. It's there's quite a lot to it, and Billy does. He's got a good gig right now. He gets to do a little more of the quick stuff to edit, a little more fun stuff. So
even what I do, like I did that Richard Burns thing, that still took me not quite 3 hours to edit.
Sure.
And that's just doing gameplay and patching stuff, and I just did that little extra stuff. That little section took me almost 45 minutes. So
sure.
Like you guys start getting way in depth, and it comes out good in the end, but I do not envy you. So
yep. Nope, that is the goal. It'd be nice to figure out some way to. I do it to myself too. I'm working on the buyer's guides right now. Like there's gonna be more videos. End of the year, trying to get all 3 buyer's guides out, and I'm gonna try to do the TSPC review. I don't have the wheel yet. It's supposed to be here end of the week or / early next week of what I've been told, and I'll get right on that. So I'm working on those buyer's guides right now, and the buyer's guides they're not hard videos to shoot because it's kind of all boom going through specs. We got all the footage. We already have ideas formulated. We know what we got here. It's the editing on that. It's the Photoshop time on that's very labor intensive, as you'll see. There's a lot of graphics and really trying to present that in a comparison, everything up on screen that you can read or screenshots, etc. So those ones are pretty labor intensive. So but yeah, that's kind of those are like 4 videos to be working on for the end of the year, and then hopefully an end of the year video. But I said it last year and didn't quite get to it. So
oops.
And Lord knows I come on here on a weekly basis and say, oh yeah, this video will be out later this week, and then it shows up beginning of the following week. So that's a good way to get myself in trouble. Let's see. Do you want to... Oh boy. You still grabbing questions, or you want to read Excel's brains?
Do all sims support... Is that where we're at?
Yep.
Do all sims support surround sound? As far as I know. Most of them do, at least.
Yeah.
All the ones that I've tried.
Yep.
So...
Nigel Benton, what are you guys hoping to get for Christmas? Oh boy, I'm hoping the house is done being worked on so I can get all this crap out of the studio. I mean that's about it. I mean, I don't really wish for anything really big for Christmas. And Sims side, right. I don't really need anything. Black Friday, I already took care of I've already nuked my credit card with the speakers and TVs and all that stuff. Yeah.
Let's see. I did. Oops. I did ask for something. I don't usually ask stuff for Christmas. But my wife does a pretty good job of just kind of figuring out something that I like. But this year I did ask for a handbrake, a proper handbrake, so I could use it in Richard Burns Rally. And I'm pretty sure I'm getting it. So, yay for me. Mrs. Claus came through.
There you go. Let's see. Bone, Oculus versus Vive for sim racing. Haven't tried the Vive. For a while there, I would, everything I heard, it's kind of sounded indifferent, but as in terms of like they're pretty much like the same experience, very little differences. Now that Oculus has this software where they're essentially cutting the frames per second from 90 to 45, if you want to turn up a little eye candy or run on a lower system, that right now kind of has me leaning that. If you're looking one or the other, kind of leaning that direction. But besides that, it all sounds fairly similar.
And I do not have an informed enough opinion. I've tried both, but very limited. So I'm really no help in this area.
You want to take the next question from Nigel?
Yeah, Nigel asks, have you got a favorite racing game for 2016? John?
Good question. I was thinking about this earlier. I think after the RedBull story. I will say, for me, iRacing keeps on ticking along. Getting Le Mans was really cool. That Nissan was really cool. I've been pretty impressed with where Assetto Corsa has gone this year compared to the beginning of the year. Back in the springtime, I was not very. I'm talking about the PC. I was not very up on Assetto Corsa. I just didn't quite see. I don't know. I wasn't finding it. Playability there. Mm-hmm. But they've added. The physics, the new cars, still lacking in tracks. The AI has gotten much better. It's still not the best, but it's gotten much better where now I can go race offline and, be okay. It's got the Oculus support, which has done really well. So I think Assetto Corsa I've enjoyed quite a bit this year.
I'm going to give a BS answer because
You're going to push...
it's just I've gotten, I'm fortunate enough that I've gotten to play so many different and drive so many different things this year that the Audi Quattro and the Nissan GTP car, I thought for me, from what I had driven before with iRacing, was such a leap for me. I thought those were really, really cool. But I'm in the same house as you with Assetto Corsa. They're I think it was this year they changed. They kind of went away from the tire model, in my opinion, and then got back to a really nice tire model.
Yeah.
So I enjoy driving in that game. Offline is kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it's really fun. Sometimes it's kind of whatever. And I know that some people really like running multiplayer, and some people don't. Dirt Rally I thought was really good. The ones that I feel myself kind of going back to are Automobilista and Race Room, especially Race Room with their last update. I have a lot of fun just jumping on, with the. It's not really offline because you still have to be connected, but they're quote unquote offline with the AI, and then the way the cars feel and the sounds that the noise that those things make, and it's just it's cool. I've got like a range of games that if we were to do an award show, I would really have to knuckle down and it would be hard for me to pick.
It's hard. I mean, there are so many titles out there, and not one title does everything well.
Right.
So
they all have their pluses and minuses. Well, yeah, even R Factor 2. I mean, they haven't done a whole lot with it, but they've done some changes. And again, I kind of like running R Factor 2 sometimes offline.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely lots of options. Um, Planet Hot Rod. What's a good budget steering wheel? Also, happy holidays. Boy, I might push this to our buyer's guides because I'll really get into this with pricing because I think pricing is very important. So many people sit back and be like, "Oh, well, this is the best wheel. This is the It's like, okay, well, you know, $1,000 here, $3,000 later. It's like it comes. Budget
That is, yeah,
matters.
that's one of the things that I think people just kind of go, oh, you should just get this.
Yes.
Why even bother? And it's like, well, okay, that's not exactly fair. And that wasn't. I always try to answer the question that was asked, not. Does that make sense? Not just kind of blurt out whatever my opinion is, because my opinion may be different for where I'm at compared to where the other person is at. So my favorite one is when somebody is talking about a wheel that will work for the PS4, the Xbox One, and then somebody blurts out, just get a G27, and it's like, that's not the question that they asked.
Oh my God, there's been so much. Yeah,
That is not the question that they asked.
That was that was that Hori review. People were like, just go get a DFGT or just go get a G27, and it's like, this was reviewed for the PlayStation 4 primarily. I mean, this is what this is probably for. I wouldn't suggest getting this for the PC. You can't drive those wheels on the PlayStation 4.
Yes.
So we're kind of, we got a disconnect here, guys. That's not, yeah, that's exactly that example. So, yeah, I'm going to push and say watch those review guides because I'm breaking it down to entry-level wheels, consumer-level wheels, enthusiast, and then hardcore. I'm giving 4 different categories, right, driven mostly on price. Some things kind of, walk the line, but it's mostly driven on price. Entry, consumer, enthusiast, hardcore. Hardcore, I'm just saying right now, is direct drive. That's like $1,000 plus. So that's not even going to get touched in the PlayStation, Xbox One buyer's guides, but the PC one, it will be. So, yeah, because I think that's where it's got to be. You gotta ask, what's your budget? Where are you at mentally in sim racing?
Right.
And then
I mean, there's levels to everything. So, I mean, that's when somebody comes into the store. That's what I kind of, if I was to sell somebody, we have different grades of cars. We have everything like you're talking about, consumer products to top end slot cars and controllers. And it's like, are you just playing? Pick your favorite car and just realize it just has a certain speed it's going to go. If you're into our competition stuff, then you do this. So it's. Yeah, trying to, I guess, ask the right question and then deliver the right answer is sometimes more complicated than I think people give it credit for.
Yep.
All right. Here you go. Marshall Stanley, are you running the 24 hours of Daytona this year?
Probably. All
right.
I would say. I mean, it's kind of almost an easy one to run. We ran it last year. Daytona, very comfortable with it. Same cars. It's almost. I always get really excited for that race because it's beginning of the racing season. So that one's pretty easy to, I think, just say yes to. Unlike some of the other ones which we wavered on. Coco.
Planet Hot Rod.
Wait, we already got that one.
Oh no, we already did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Coco BQ. B Q&A. Best new sim product this year. I guess we're talking hardware. Probably
do you consider the VR headsets? Is this like specific sim or stuff that's just available for the sim? Because the VR headsets would probably be. I mean, in my opinion, even though I don't own one, but
I would consider the VR headsets to be in there, and they probably are. I was thinking about this like an end of the year type award show type thing. VR headset probably would be it. If we're gonna go just on like a sim racing side, stuff we've tried out. I really like Darren Stage 4. That traction loss, big shit grin on my face getting out of that thing. I don't get as when we talk about that. I'm fairly jaded on products. I don't get too, can only get so excited. That one got me pretty excited. Also like the Fanatic CSL pedals quite a bit in recent memory. So those few things. I hear a dog.
That's both of my dogs. Somehow they managed to get back inside. My daughter came home. She let him in. Let's see. Visual 1677. Getting the Club Sport V3 pedals. Are they complicated to hook up and get the load cell working properly? John?
No. They're no, just follow the instructions. Read instructions. Don't be like me who doesn't read instructions and then breaks the wires on your CSLs and have to go by hand twist all the wires back together. Oops. Oh boy. Yeah, that was fun. It works. Still works though. Still use it to this day. No,
that's all that matters.
But no, the V3s have some steps. You gotta. There's specific things there. There's some little parts. That's why I kind of like the CSL with the rubber stops. You know, people kind of go, oh, that's so, I don't know, old school, lazy, blah blah blah. It's so easy. It's a toolless design, so it's so easy to swap those in and out and try new things. Where with there's the V3s are very much not toolless design, so it takes, especially with the damper kit. If you don't have a damper kit, things get much easier. Damper kit, you gotta kind of play with some stuff. I think you gotta move the rumble thing. Needs to get like turned when you have the damper kit on it. So follow instructions. Okay. Best thing I can say there.
There we go. Nigel Benton, do you have any rig reviews coming up in the new year?
Not that I'm aware of. Unless RC ever wants to send that rig. Had someone hit us up recently about, and I gotta get the email back. So maybe. The tough thing is, I mean, quite honestly, right now, rig reviews not going out of our way to try to get them because they are a lot of work. They're a lot of work to set up, a lot of work to review, then you have a rig sitting around. I got a couple right now that are sitting around not in use, and then people say, well, give them out as a prize. I don't know if we weren't allowed to do that. You know how much shipping costs on a rig?
Oh yeah, it's astronomical.
It is. I know Darren sent out a rig last year down to his buddy Scott Holmes here. Oh my God, I think that was over $200. That was like $250 just for shipping. I wouldn't doubt it. It's like it costs so much to ship that it's kind of one of those local pickup deals only. So we're not overly trying to get rigs, but we'll see. I mean, never know.
And then for you, Eric asks, how does the FR 2.0 compare to the Star Pro Mazda in iRacing? And I haven't driven that much, so that would be a question for you.
Similar cars. The FR 2.0 is, I don't know, maybe a little more livelier, I would say. Feels a little more like a Formula car. Honestly, I haven't really driven either since the the Formula Renault 2.0 was released. So I know that's like the most popular car, and that and GT3s. If you want to go find a race, I know the Formula Renault definitely cut into the Star Mazda field a lot.
Yeah. Let's see here. Andrea Carbone.
Yes.
Okay. Which is the coolest car you have driven? And he specifies real life.
I don't know. I did the Andretti driving experience around Charlotte Motor Speedway. Got to go 160 plus miles an hour. So I mean that was neat. I mean, on the road, my dad has a 2002 M5. That's a really fun car. It's had some work done to it too. I don't think I've driven anything else really more exotic than that.
Racing, I raced the 410 wing sprint car, which was like my goal. So I've been pretty fortunate to do that. I'd like to drive some other stuff. I'd love to drive some sort of prototype. I'd love to, there's a boatload of cars that I'd love to race. But my main goal was at least to try and get into a sprint car, and I did. So that There's nothing like it. It's so foreign feeling to drive and so much horsepower to weight ratio. You'll never drive anything like it. There's no way. And then in real life, I've driven a bunch of different stuff, but I'm gonna be biased. I had a Viper, the ACR, an '09, and then I traded that in, and I have my Hellcat, and I really like my Hellcat a whole lot. Yeah, I'm biased. I really like my Hellcat.
Hellcat's pretty awesome. Let's see, Scott 9810. Are you doing another show next week? No, it's gonna be the last live show for the year. Unfortunately, Windows 10 had that annoying update that kind of killed the first show. It'll be interesting to see how much of that shows
It's
up.
watchable.
Yeah, it's watchable later on demand. So that kind of blows. So yeah, part of me almost wants to come back for another show next week, but I really need to get done with these buyer guides. So yeah, we'll call this the Stick a Fork in the live show for this year, and then there'll be 4 or 5. There's going to be still other shows, not live shows, coming out until the end of the year. But we'll be back with the live show in 2017.
Yeah, and we've kind of alluded to before. We've got some other stuff in the works for next year, but we've got to plan it out and make sure we can do it before we commit. But we're always trying to work on new stuff.
Yes, we're gonna give Billy more opportunities to give his opinion.
The world needs more of that. I'm not joking, by the way. No, I'm kidding. Ronnie, let's see.
What about T? Wait, did we?
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, T-Bone.
T-Bone, does the hardware reviewer get to keep the product? Would be a question for you.
Usually, it depends. There's different deals. I mean, usually where we're at right now, we get to hang on to stuff. And someone asked on a question on YouTube, what do we do with this stuff? A lot of times the stuff just stays here. Especially like the wheels and pedals, like to keep those sets around if need be. So like all these things in the buyer's guides videos, we still have them all here. The T500 is still at Darren's. He kept that. But well, all right. I think more. I just didn't bring it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we keep it to go back and forth. I know, like I lend out the Logitech G920 to a buddy of mine here in town with the asterisk of if I need this for a video, I'm coming back to take it. So
it will be mine.
Yes, so that's on a lease right now. But yeah, for the most part, keep stuff. That's why we gotta have space. And I got junk everywhere.
Right. And boxes, your favorite.
Boxes, yes. Ronnie. Billy, do you game outside sim racing? If so, what are you playing currently? Merry Christmas to you all, and John, St. Louis Blues suck. Hey, Ronnie.
I had to throw that part in there for you. Yes, I do game outside of sim racing, so I don't want myself to burn out on sim racing, and I do enjoy a bunch of other stuff. So, if you didn't catch it in the other live stream, I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy 15, and I've got some other ones that I'm playing with. You know, I played Doom this year. I played. I'm trying not to be too excited for the new Mass Effect that'll come out next year. I'm a big player of like survival horror kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Resident Evil got me back into gaming. So, yeah, I like all that stuff. So I play that stuff when everybody's gone to bed.
John Hoy, I hope you're not grabbing any more questions, right?
Nope,
Oh,
I am
good.
not.
Perfect. I gotta go make dinner. John Hoy, do you guys watch the Grand Tour? I have. I've seen the first 3 episodes. I haven't. I've been meaning to watch the 4th episode, and I haven't yet. I know episode 5 comes out tonight.
Uh,
Billy, have you been watching it?
I am actually waiting till they all come out, and then I'm gonna binge watch them.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it here, but um, I was not overly impressed with the first episode, and it's gotten better. Episode 3 was definitely the best of them so far. Um, and as I saw some people write online, episode 3 should have been episode 1. But yeah, we'll see. But I mean, the funniest moments in Top Gear are the ones that happen organically, and they're definitely trying to do a lot of
Right.
bits, which I like bits. We do bits here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's just that something that happens organically. You know, there's a reason why people like watching live streaming. It's all organic. If your live streaming works. But yeah, I mean, bits can be really funny, or some stuff that happens organically can be like crazy funny. So we'll see. They're still kind of working on that. It feels like.
All right.
And by the way, Mike
Oh.
Skinner, as someone just asked, Mike Skinner is like the new Stig guy. In case you didn't
Oh.
know,
I did not.
he's awful. Like that doesn't work. I'm waiting for them to kill him like they did with Stig, the original Stig. So I hope that happens sooner than later.
Why is he no good?
Because he plays like, here's our redneck guy. First, it was so funny
okay.
when they're like, here's our redneck NASCAR racing American. I'm like, who? Then they Mike Skinner. It's like, what? Where has he been? He hasn't been even in the truck series in the last like 5 years. And then he tries to be fun. He tries to be funny, and it's canned lines. It's not. It's just. I mean, he could get better. But
Did you see him drive the truck though in Goodwood, up the hill?
I did not.
It's amazing.
Is it?
He wrestles the hell because it's slightly wet,
Yeah.
and he flat freaking hauls ass up that hill with that truck. It's impressive against all those other high tech cars. I was like, wow.
Maybe that's why they hired him. I mean, he's a good driver. I mean, I'm not against that. It's just, yeah.
His personality is something that's left
TV.
to be desired.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right, the Nick123. What do you think? LMP1 cars in iRacing in the rain. How do you think that'll go, John?
Well, I mean, it'll be a struggle, but I hope that happens at some point. I don't expect rain. I don't expect rain or weather or day-night transitions anytime soon in iRacing. Like, I don't even know it's going to come in 2017. People are really jonesing for it. I don't think I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of like, lower your expectations, and just be happy if they are surpassed.
Yeah, from my understanding, those two things are major overhauls that are not just a simple point and click copy and paste. Okay, we've got rain now, kind of thing. So I would agree with you. Oh, real quick. Sorry, Crazy Dan. He says, how am I supposed to do timestamps with 2 shows? I'm sorry, but I really appreciate last week.
Don't worry, Crazy Dan. I'll do it this week. I gotta add notes to this one. Okay, let's get this done with. Jam Futube, reducing force feedback in driver or in game settings. I guess driver reduces power delivery, game reduces bit rate. Oh boy. This is one that I have heard debated about, read about. I haven't really messed with it much myself. I do both. I don't.
I never touch the driver.
The
Mine stays
driver-
at the default, and I just leave it.
So the driver, I sometimes I'll turn it down to like, I know like Darren told me we got the T300. He's like, to reduce it down like 75%. I know since
That's
then,
what
though-
it comes at. That's what it comes at default.
Okay, so maybe they changed that. Because I feel like, because I've forgotten to do that before, and then I changed it in game. So I think it could be a combo of both, but I don't know. I don't like messing around with the driver stuff too much, just because it's kind of a pain. We jump around games so much. It's just easier to just do it in the games.
I just leave the driver and then I just change it in the game unless there's something really far off. But I almost never touch the driver. It's always in game settings.
Yep. Let's see. Excel Brains at Billy. In Assetto Corsa, there isn't an option to select surround where in Race Room does. How does it work in AC?
I posted that. Maybe you understood that.
Is
I'm
this
not.
surround sound? Just going back to
Well, that's what I
that?
thought at first, but then I'm not sure.
I I don't know either. We're gonna have to skip that.
Yeah.
Ronnie,
Sorry.
Billy, do you have any other cool mugs?
I just grab whatever's. I don't actually drink coffee. I never drink coffee. This is usually either water or something else, but not alcohol. Um,
You sound like a robot,
yeah,
by the way. Your phone decided to die in the last
sweet.
minute.
What do you mean? But anyway, I just grab whatever's in there,
Okay.
just whatever's available. So I'll say yes, and then you'll just have to stay tuned.
Now, Crazy Dan said he's asking, are they talking about single, triple, or talking about screens or stuff like that and surround? But, well, Assetto Corsa has triple screen support. Race Room does not, so I don't know.
Right, and that's what I first I thought that, and then I was like, but Race Room doesn't have that. So if you're
Yeah.
talking about surround sound, both of them have the option.
Yes. And last one, Visual 1677. Are either of you doing full season slash series in iRacing? If so, what series? I don't think I have the time to do it. I used to run the IndyCar and GT3 full time. I would still really like to run the IndyCar full time, but I would say it'd be much more likely than not that I'm not going to get to a full season just because, like Billy talked about, we're always driving different things.
Yep. And same thing. It would be hard for me, but when Dirt comes out, I might try to make a push for doing a season. It's just it's a little hard for me to justify because in like real racing, I know you can test and stuff, but I mean with sprint cars, you show up to the track and you get, I mean, you'll never see the track before, and you'll get 3 to 5 laps of practice. That's it. That's all you
Yeah.
get. And then you got to go out and qualify. So you have to rely more on your knowledge base from prior races. And no matter what we want to say, we can't ever run as many races with laps as we can turning laps in a sim. So I always kind of feel like I'm at a disadvantage. And I, if I'm gonna do online, I want to win. And yes, if I can't win, I don't want to do it. No, I would just want to have competitive races. And if I don't feel like I'm going to be competitive, then I'm not going to do it. So we'll see how Dirt goes.
I hope you run lots of dirt because I think that's going to be fun. But
I'm crossing my fingers.
so, with that, let's wrap up this marathon edition of This Week Inside Sim Racing, December 14th edition. Thanks to you guys who came back for part 2. Again, apologize for part 1. Next time I notice a Windows update right before going live, we will just start the show later. That's going to be the trick.
Postpone.
Yes,
Right?
yes, because as we've learned, you just can't mess with Windows 10 when it comes to streaming. They will wreck your stuff. So, but yes. So,
Yep. All right.
anyway, thanks for
Thanks
watching.
for a great year.
Yes, great year. We'll see you 2017 on the live show. John Sable, Billy Strange. Later, guys.
See you guys later.
And now I wait awkwardly for the waiting screen. As XSplit. And now.